What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday early afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the possibility of the New York Giants trading in the NFL draft, but not what you might be thinking in the NFL draft. Most will be thinking because of what Joe Schoen has done previously with his tenure in the Buffalo Bills organization and obviously being the New York Giants general manager this past season and now being able to go into his second NFL draft starting tomorrow. You figure most likely if there's going to be any type of trades, the Giants will be trading down in the NFL draft. Well, what if somebody told you that maybe the New York Giants could be interested in trading up in the NFL draft, particularly for a certain positional group or groups that the Giants might be eyeing as a long-term investment going into the rest of the 2023 season and beyond? Joe Schoen even said in his press conference that he made a couple of days ago that if he bets in every horse in the race then declares, "See, I had a winner," when he met with the local media ahead of Thursday's NFL draft, he provided this nugget. And he quotes saying, "If there's somebody we want to move up for, we will have some extra draft capital to do it. If we want to move back and collect some picks, we can do that too. You have to look at the roster, not just today, but 2024 and 2025, which makes a hell of a lot of sense that the Giants are going to look to not only just what they're going to be doing for this upcoming season in 2023, but of course what the team is going to be doing beyond 2023 and look at the future years going forward for their team and the landscape of their team in the next couple of years regarding the NFL draft." And the Giants are surprised after the Giants had a surprisingly awesome playoff run last year where they went 9-7-1 during the regular season and ended up winning their wild card game in Minnesota against the Vikings, but unfortunately they got blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round right afterwards. The Giants right now are trying to put together a very good solid depth and rotation overall. But one of the things that the Giants have been linked to a lot going into this NFL draft starting tomorrow has been the cornerback and the wide receiver position so far. And a lot of good players could be coming off the board in the market for the wide receiver and the cornerback. Obviously, the cornerback position, you have top players like Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. You obviously have guys like Deonte Banks out of Maryland, Cam Smith out of South Carolina. You have Emmanuel Forbes out of South Carolina, out of Mississippi State, and of course the wide receiver position. You have players such as Quentin Johnson out of TCU. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State, Jordan Addison out of USC, Zay Flowers out of Boston College, and Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, just to name a few of the top wide receivers. Would the Giants bundle some of these draft picks and possibly a veteran on their team to maybe go up in the draft and get themselves one of these young players? Or, for instance, they wanted to move back, would they trade some of their draft capital if they want to get a veteran at the NFL draft? We saw it last year. You saw a lot of players in the NFL draft be moved to other teams, not necessarily just for draft capital, but they were exchanged for one-on-one trades. Philadelphia and Arizona, two of the teams that did last year when the Arizona Cardinals acquired Marquise Hollywood Brown during the 2022 NFL draft, and of course Philadelphia making the blockbuster trade to acquire A.J. Brown in the draft last year for a first and a fifth round pick. Would the Giants be willing to do that with obviously them being linked to a lot of the top wide receivers going into either their contract years or some of these young wide receivers that might be pricing themselves out of the current location that they're in, namely guys like Michael Pittman Jr., Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, and of course somebody the Giants have been linked to for a while, DeAndre Hopkins? Would the Giants potentially take one of those draft picks that they have and maybe move up or trade them for one of those guys? But at the same time, would the Giants be willing to package some of their excess picks they have now. If there's a player that somehow falls near the beginning of the 20s, late teens, early 20s, would Joe Schoen and the Giants front office be willing to package those draft picks and move up in this NFL draft to get themselves a player that they have top on their board starting tomorrow and put them into their system, whether it's the offensive side or the defensive side? That's something you got to look at when we get into this NFL draft in the beginning and the first round of the NFL draft. Are the Giants going to be willing to package some of their picks to be able to move up in this NFL draft? That's going to be one of the things to really look forward to with this football team, because it might not just be about sticking at the number 25 position, and it might not even be about moving down in the draft. Would the Giants be willing to trade up? Joe Schoen has shown that he would not be afraid to take some of his excess draft picks and trade up in this NFL draft. Most likely he's been more prone to trade down and accumulate more draft picks in order to stack up the depth on this roster, which is still very questionable at certain positions due to injury concerns and also due to the fact that you have a lot of these guys on 1-year expiring deals after this upcoming season. So that's going to be one thing to really check out and really get to see and witness what the New York Giants might be interested in doing heading into this NFL draft starting tomorrow. Plenty of options on the table, plenty of things that the New York Football Giants can do. We're just going to have to wait and see how the board dictates itself, what players might fall in this NFL draft, because a lot of it could do with the quarterback position and how that is going to play out at the beginning, and how exactly these quarterbacks and the rest of these positional players might fall or rise going into this NFL draft. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen when we get to tomorrow at 8 p.m. and Kansas City, Missouri for the 2023 NFL Draft. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't already and give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85. More news, updates, and shoutouts surrounding the New York Football Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And you guys let me know in the comments section if you think that if a player that the Giants like seems to fall near where the Giants are going to be picking at 25, would Joe Schoen and the Giants be inclined to potentially trade up to grab that player before another team gets him? And if you would be interested in the Giants trading up for a specific player that might be able to be available at that point for the Giants going into this NFL draft starting tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.